Tanse, I am Natasha Delaney, and I'm the founder of Indigenous Projects and Events. Our mission is to bridge the gap between Indigenous peoples and enterprise through immersive experiences that foster understanding and collaboration. We are committed to shifting perspectives and behaviors between Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities while supporting the economic success of Indigenous businesses. At Indigenous Projects and Events, we offer a wide range of services, which include event management, an Indigenous Speakers Bureau, corporate training and experiences, and we also offer an Indigenous arts and decor rental program. So today, as part of our Indigenous Speakers Bureau series, I'm thrilled to be introducing and interviewing our guest, Rachael Hunt. Rachael is a proud member of Chippewas of Nawash First Nation and the visionary and founder and CEO of Freedom School Co. It is a personal development brand. She's also the creator of the Freedom Method and host of the Cycle Breakers podcast. As an intuitive Indigenous mentor, Rachael is deeply connected to helping women thrive in business, relationships, finances, and personal well-being by leveraging subconscious reprogramming. She is leading powerful conversations about Indigenous success and prosperity through mindset and intergenerational healing. An award-winning certified NLP practitioner, Rachael specializes in timeline techniques, EFT and hypnosis, and her work is just transformative. We are so honored to have her share her insights here today. And stay tuned for inspiring conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to explore more stories and insights from Indigenous leaders and change makers. So without further ado, here is Rachael.
Annie, thank you. Thank you for that very beautiful introduction. I'm feeling, a lot of gratitude in my heart for you, our connection, and for this beautiful opportunity that you've created. So, miigwech.
Yeah, and Rachael and I met at just earlier this year at the Indigenomics She Conference in Winnipeg, and that conference was amazing. It changed my life.
Mm-hmm. Same in many ways.
Yeah, and Rachael was one of the keynote speakers. Her presentation was super amazing, super informational and transformational, even within the 45 minutes that you had to give that presentation.
Thank you. It was, such a privilege to connect with women like yourself. And I think I think for many of the women I've spoken to afterward, really just opened up our missions. And I think also gave us permission to take up more space and to claim, our purpose in a bigger way. That's what I definitely felt since that beautiful event.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your background, about your business, and the topics that you love to speak on?
Yeah, so thank you again. As you mentioned, I'm the founder of a personal development brand and business called Freedom School. And formally, when it comes to like post-secondary education, I studied and specialized in marketing, specifically digital marketing. It was at the very early days of Instagram, and Twitter was really big, and
I had no idea
Facebook.
about that.
Yeah, so that's how I like started. That's really like what I graduated with. And I was working in different businesses, different organizations, helping them bring their business online, essentially using social media. This was again like circa like 2010, 2011. So that's dating me a
Wow.
little bit. And over the years, I began to establish my own personal brand. And at first, it was a food blog. I was diagnosed with celiac disease. and became a gluten-free food blogger. But that really, I think, amplified my my presence online. It really helped me to get comfortable in the online space. And then through a series of events, I found myself in the realm of personal development and mentoring. And this was around 2018, 2019. And so I established Freedom School after about a year of delving into the entrepreneurial journey and recognizing that there were these limitations that I was experiencing: lack mentality, imposter syndrome, fear of being seen, fear of failing, fear of being judged. And so the clients I had been working with at this time were coming to me expressing a number of those same blocks and barriers. So I wanted to create solutions for them, which is how I came into the realm of studying the subconscious mind, becoming a master neurolinguistic programming practitioner, which is a very fancy way of saying the study of the subconscious mind. And within that study, I acquired tools, techniques, and modalities that helped me to reprogram the subconscious minds of my clients and also myself. And so that's really where my focus and my passion lies. It's all rooted in empowerment. I really love to see my clients reach their fullest potential, to believe in themselves, to feel more confident, to feel more empowered, worthy, deserving, like knowing that it's possible. And we do that by releasing and reprogramming anything that's holding them back. And what often holds us back is ancestral, is generational. And so when I started to pivot my business 2 years ago to focus specifically on Indigenous women and Indigenous communities, I really understood the power of the ancestral healing component and liberating us and liberating our ancestors as well, right? To heal for them and to then also heal for the legacy that we're building, allowing us to carry that torch forward more powerfully. So those are the things I love to talk about: empowerment, Indigenous women's empowerment specifically, ancestral and generational healing, and really like personal power, like really showing everyone that I encounter that, like, no matter what you've come from, no matter your circumstances, no matter the hand you've been dealt in life,
Yeah.
you can overcome that to create a beautiful reality, a beautiful life for yourself, for your family, for your network, your community, and beyond.
In terms of like the events that you've spoken on in the past, what do you find companies, corporations are wanting to really hear about from you?
It's a really great question. A lot of it has been around, creating greater success and prosperity from an Indigenous lens. So the workshops, the for Indigenous organizations or for Indigenous groups of individuals, it's really, again, like opening us up, expanding us to the possibility, to the potential, to overcome the impacts of colonization. Like, we get that choice. We have the power to choose. We have the power to heal. And so I love to open up the conversations around increasing and expanding Indigenous success and prosperity. A lot of interest in that topic. And then a lot around identity work. So overcoming imposter syndrome and coming home to ourselves, to our identities, again, to empower. It's always rooted in empowerment. So those are the areas that have been the most prominent. And then this new emerging focus is about the intersection of ancestral wisdom and modern success. So modern success being that inner work of inner confidence, inner power, inner self-worth, inner self-trust, and merging the two worlds. Because I think as Indigenous folks, we try to compartmentalize, thinking that we will fit in better if we separate it. But I'm actually empowering us to bring it all together, to bridge, as you mentioned, those two worlds, closing those gaps. And a lot of those gaps are internal gaps of, maybe not feeling safe to be fully reclaimed in our Indigenous identities, or, showing up with our Indigenous values in business. But I'm empowering us weave in our sacred teachings and our cultural practices and merging it with modern business to really truly thrive.
Just hearing you, like, so I also have another business where Rachel and I have connected on as well. We do very similar things. And I'm just, this is nothing to do with the interview, but it's just like sparking like, oh my God, we need to have we need to do this as part of that. Because I agree, like I feel like in terms of, the collective and individually, like it really does start on that individual level. And you're right, in terms of that identity portion, and, not having the right information on how we can perceive who we are as Indigenous people, right? There's so much confusion, and I don't know if it's getting, better with technology and, more information being spread out, but I'm so glad that, people like you exist, so that individuals who are meant to come across your path can find you when they're ready, and get more clarity on their own individual experiences and perspectives and, unique purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you see your work impacting Indigenous communities, both in the short term and in the long term? And I feel like this question really does have to do with what we were just talking about.
Yeah, totally. I think it's kind of just like an additional note on what I just shared. I mean, in the short term, how I see it is, when we heal on an individual level, it doesn't just end with us. That's a really important piece. It might feel really daunting because as Indigenous folks, I feel like we carry like burdens of our communities, of our families, of our ancestors on our back. Mm-hmm. And so what happens when we heal individually is we start to take off those burdens and we start to show up better for ourselves first and foremost. And when we're able to do that, we're able to show up better for others. So yes, we're breaking cycles on an individual level, but that creates a ripple effect. And so the long-term impacts of the work I offer and the way I see it impacting in the long run is that we are able to start breaking cycles on a generational level, right? So for example, you, Natasha, as a mother, as a wife, as a leader, you doing the healing work doesn't just impact you, doesn't just support you. It actually creates this really powerful ripple effect, as a matriarch for so many other individuals, your clients even, right? Every single person you impact will receive the medicine of you healing, right? A healed person heals others, right? Or just as a hurt person will hurt others, right? So we have the power to heal ourselves, and that creates that ripple effect. So I have a vision where the cycle breakers movement that I'm leading is so deeply embedded and ingrained in our communities that we're no longer talking about the pain and the problem of the past. We are looking forward to the success and the prosperity and the abundance of our communities. Like that magic, that medicine, that wisdom is what we're really shining forth, right? Yeah.
So the cycle breakers, tell us about that.
Yeah. So this kind of emerged happenstance, and I feel like the more I connected to my roots, the more I spent time on, the land of my home community, connecting to my ancestors, connecting to Creator, connecting to my relatives, the elders in community, sitting in ceremony, it really came to me that the work I'm doing is breaking cycles and that it's a movement. Like it's not just a little cutesy thing I do with my clients. Like it's a movement. It's a movement that we're all actually collectively a part of. And really what I do, I've got a podcast, like you mentioned, that really amplifies the voices of other Indigenous leaders, gives them a platform to share their stories, gives them a platform to share their missions. And the more we give opportunity and give light, just like what you're doing through the Indigenous projects and events, like you're calling back our power, calling back our voices,
Mhm.
calling back our identities. Like that is cycle breaking. And it's uncomfortable for sure. And it is going to look different for everyone. But knowing that you, just by choosing to do a little bit differently, are breaking cycles. It doesn't need to be this big dramatic overnight thing. It can be an ongoing lifelong journey. In fact, I would say that it is going to be a lifelong ongoing journey, but that each shift counts. Each shift matters because you matter, your voice matters, your story matters. And we need to keep reminding ourselves, our peoples, that that is truth.
Mhm.
And the more we do that, the more, again, the cycle breakers movement grows, and like just the strength of our communities grow. That's truly what's on my heart, and what I believe. And I think your, work aligns with that as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the one thing that I also really took away, maybe not immediately, but as time progressed post Indigenomics She conference, was when I can't remember which politician it was that was there that had said, you are the matriarch.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in this room is the matriarch. And I don't think I had ever considered myself as being that. And
Mm-hmm.
then, even if somebody had said that to me, the way that it sat with me was just that bold declaration that I needed to make that statement to myself, like, I am the matriarch here. And really what I really hope for all Indigenous women to be able to know and really like feel deep in their core soul as they're going amongst their healing journeys, because there's so many of us. They really feel and understand that to their being, that they really truly are the matriarchs.
That is so beautiful. I actually think you mentioning that, I wrote that down in my notes, and I can't recall if it was Nahani who said that, or there was another woman towards the very end, and I wrote her name down. But I remember like that hitting me as well, because I always considered matriarch as, this, the head of the family, like not
Yeah.
having this matriarchal medicine already within. And I really deeply resonated with that as well.
Yeah. So looking back, what has been your proudest moment working with Indigenous communities?
It's a really great question. I mean, I I will say that the Indigenomics She event and conference was a massive opportunity that I think for me was vital to the mission I'm on. Like, it really cracked me open to be surrounded by so many incredibly empowered and inspiring women, and to realize that I'm in the room with them. Like, there was something that was like, whoa, like, I'm not here by coincidence. Like, I am here for a reason and a purpose. And that really reverberated in me. And I have to say, like, just as a whole, this journey that I've been guided on, because I did not make this up. I always say, like, Creator gifted this pathway to me, like, gifted this mission and this purpose to me. And I feel like the fact that I've been chosen to lead work within community, specifically for Indigenous women, is something that I'm just like, whoa, like, I am proud of the work I get to do, and to witness the expansion and the growth and liberation amongst these women and men. I'm going to say I've been working with more men as well. So not just women, but the witnessing is something that I'm so proud that I get to do.
That's so good. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share about your current work or any upcoming events that you will be speaking at that our viewers would need to know about?
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of things in the work for 2025, and a lot of them are not so much forward facing, like public events, but I actually, several months ago, again, divinely downloaded this information from Creator, from my ancestors, to create what is called this Indigenous Employee Empowerment Program, where I'm partnering with corporations and organizations across Canada, even into the States, so across Turtle Island, and supporting the employee networks,
Mm.
within these organizations to provide, say, workshops or keynotes that I would lead, similar to what I did at Indigenomics She, and bringing it into the workplace. Because just as entrepreneurs need that support to build their mission and lead their movements, we also need to support the employees, those who are more frontline, those who are, making a difference in a corporation or organization, and to strengthen them, to empower them, to make them feel valued, seen, heard, and understood, right? We hear so often of like tokenism in the workplace, or feeling like you can't be your full self as an Indigenous individual because you feel like you need to hide parts of who you are. And so I'm offering, the empowerment element to resource these employee groups, to resource these networks with tools to like strengthen the individual. Because again, just like I mentioned, when we heal individually, we create a ripple effect.
Yeah.
That ripple effect will ripple into the team, to the organization, to the collective as a whole. And so we can't overlook, a big part of the population, such as, employees.
I know we were supposed to be done at 20 minutes, but I have to continue this conversation. So only because so very similar to what you're doing, for the same outcome, really. Indigenous projects events will be offering corporate experience, or no, Indigenous experiences. So just being that connecting and facilitating the connection and the administration part for employees, for CEOs, for whoever, to be able to experience, a sweat lodge, or to be able to experience, these ceremonies that require a very different perspective and level of understanding and commitment. And so I feel like, lots of companies, they, especially those that have already been having ongoing cultural awareness programs and these kind of workshops and facilitations, like they're ready for the next level of learning, right? They're now not just wanting to learn, because they want to, be more culturally sensitive to Indigenous people. They're wanting to learn now because they want to evolve their own individual perspectives and understandings of the world. And that's what Indigenous culture is like. When you start to practice the ceremonies, when you start, when you do dance, when you understand, the pipe directions, or why we smudge each single rock before it goes into a ceremony, or why we do every single little thing that we do in a ceremony. That type of knowledge and understanding is relevant to all aspects of our knowing, being, doing, and connecting.
Yes.
And I feel like that's kind of, what you're doing with these new projects that you're working on, new collaborations with these companies, is really being able to provide that space for these Indigenous and non-Indigenous employees to expand their own breadth of understanding and awareness, not just of Indigenous culture, which is so important, but just of the world, and the evolution of the mind, and these different perspectives, which are so important for the world's evolution.
Yes. And I think it's like you mentioned, like it's at a time where people are really wanting to feel more connected. I think there's something you mentioned, and I think that's ultimately like one of the biggest parts of, as our Indigenous culture, as Indigenous peoples, but also in sharing that wisdom, sharing that way of being. It's an intentionality, which is often so lost in the workplace. If you're working for a big corporation where everything is very structured and systemic and linear, or it's more of that logical, where weaving this element, bringing in this Indigenous worldview, these Indigenous perspectives, I think actually opens these teams, these people, to more creativity, more inspiration, more inspired action. And so there's so much to be gained from adding these elements into, like you're saying. Like, I think that's beautiful to introduce the ceremonial components to different corporations and different leadership and management in those organizations. That's so, yeah, incredible.
Well, I certainly am looking forward to, continuing to watch you shine. I saw you in a MasterCard advertisement across my LinkedIn feed. I'm like, I know that girl.
Wow.
Like
I
giving
haven't
me
seen
a
that.
friend. Yeah, you didn't see it?
No.
Yeah. Oh, I'll screenshot it when I see it again and I'll text it to you. Cause yeah,
Okay, please.
it was cool.
Wow, cool. I didn't know that that's happening.
Yeah, that's crazy. You didn't know about that.
I
I
knew
think,
I was being featured in this article, but I didn't know if they were doing advertisements about it.
yeah, it was like an ad. So,
Wow. Okay, screenshot if you see it again.
all right, awesome. Well, oh, my hair. Okay, well, anyways, thank you so much again, and again, Rachael is, one of the amazing speakers that are part of the Indigenous Speakers Bureau. If you are a company, if you are an event planner, if you're an organization that is looking for a speaker or a facilitator, or interested in hearing more about the services that Rachael is now offering, the current ones and the ones that she's working on, please reach out to us and we can connect you guys. Yeah, again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. This was so beautiful. And yeah, Chimigwech for this opportunity and for creating a space for us.
Hi, namaskar. Bye.
Bye.